Well, the Pistons are back in action tonight against the New Orleans Pelicans, which means we're going to get to see Trey Murphy III live and in action. So let's get into it. Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Pistons Daily, your go-to podcast for daily Detroit Pistons content, game recaps, Coach T's keys, trade rumors, and real conversations about what's working and what's not with the Detroit Pistons. I'm your host, Tony Nash, aka Coach T, and if you love the Pistons as much as I do, or even as little bit as much as I do, you've come to the right place because that's what we talk about here on Pistons Daily. So if you haven't already, please head on over to the YouTube channel, subscribe. We're getting so close to 3,000 subscribers and we need your help. You can find us anywhere a podcast can be found, so make sure you share this with all your friends. Hit the notification bell, do all the things so that you continue to help us support the channel and grow this thing to really build a great Pistons fans family. And I love getting to know you guys and talking about the Pistons here with you guys every day. So I want to start today by showing a little love to Duncan Robinson. He's been on an absolute heater lately. And of course, when I found out we were getting Duncan Robinson as a Michigan fan, I was really, really excited. I've always liked Duncan, followed his career in Miami. Even when I found out we were getting Karras, I was really excited about that. Of course, as you've heard over and over on this show, I'm not big on Karras, but I love what Duncan is doing. And Duncan is really lately just playing absolutely great and very consistent. In his last 5 games, the other night against Boston, he had 15 points with 5 threes and a block. Then the night before that, 16 points with 4 threes, 2 assists. The game before that, 19 points, 4 threes and a block. Before that, 20 points, 5 threes and 2 rebounds. And then the game before that, 12 points, 4 threes and a block. So Duncan has been doing some really, really great things. And there's been talks of him being traded. You know, they're not really serious talks, but he's been in some trade rumors. There's been talks of him, you know, going to the bench so that Jaden Ivey could come back to the starting lineup. And I've even talked about that a little bit. But I think, you know, in the NBA, if you want to be a starter, you got to prove that you earn that spot. And I think certainly as of late, especially, Duncan Robinson has really proven that he deserves to be a starter on this team. And Jaden Ivey just isn't quite there yet. As I've said before, I hope we continue to give Jaden Ivey some time. But as of right now, he hasn't proven that he's ready for that yet. I hope that JB starts to give him more and more minutes, and we've talked about that over and over. But really, this segment is about Duncan Robinson. I want us to give Duncan some love in the comments, what he's doing, the way he moves on offense, the way he changes directions, changes positions, keeps the floor spaced when he's in there. We don't see zone when Duncan is on the court. And even that play the other night against Boston where he runs the full length of the court, saves the ball from going out of bounds over his head, throws it back, Cade catches it, and then he runs to the corner and shoots a 3 and nails it, just showing his absolute hustle. I love what Duncan Robinson is doing. You can tell he's really bought into the Detroit DNA, the mentality of hard work, the mentality of defense. This is by far the best defense he's ever played since he's been in the league. And so I love what Duncan is doing. I think he is really a pivotal part of our team right now. He's filled a big gap without having Malik Beasley, and really he's been the only consistent three-point shooter we've had. And so much, much needed, hit some big shots for us and made us a really tough team to beat. So please, in the comments, give Duncan Robinson some love, some much deserved love. We need that. And then speaking of defense, I want to talk about Cade. You know, Cade obviously is known as, especially this year, is really becoming known as an offensive player, averaging 26, 27 points a game, 9 assists a game. But really I want to talk, and he's been struggling offensively lately. And even though people say he struggled against Boston, he still had 16 points and 14 assists, which means he impacted a lot of baskets and a lot of points. And so even on a bad night, that's still a great night for some guys. But what I love about our team is when our bad player is not playing great, we still do well. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But right now, I saw this just came out. The top 5 best perimeter defenders in the NBA, the lowest DFG percentage outside the paint as of January 19th, 2026. So which 5 players have the lowest DFG percentage outside the paint? And number 1 is Cade Cunningham at 28.6. So defensive field goal percentage outside the paint. Cade is holding his opponents to 28.6%. Amen Thompson, the other twin, 29%. Precious Ashua, 29.6, Kiel Ware, 30.3, and Quentin Grimes, 30.3. I was surprised to see that a star's not in there, but Cade, number one. And this is what makes him, to me, a true MVP candidate, not just because of what he's doing offensively, but because he plays on both sides of the ball. You can't say that for all of the All-Star or for all of the MVP candidates, but Cade is doing it on both ends. And the fact that Cade does not have to be the best offensive player every night to get things done is really a reflection of him and his leadership. And I also have to say that Cade is making the guys around him better. He has the least amount to work with. If you look at the top 10 guys on that list for MVP, all phenomenal players and all deserve to be in the conversation, but Cade is doing the most with the least amount of talent around him, and he's making everybody on the team better, and he really is a true leader. He reminds me in his leadership style of Chauncey. And Chauncey came in, he wasn't as good of an offensive player as Cade is. Definitely did not have the bag. Maybe a little bit better three-point shooter. But Chauncey made everyone better, and he was a floor general. He was the quarterback. He was the leader, and that's what I love about Cade. And so I know we're going to give some love to Duncan Robinson in the comments, but let's give some love to Cade, not just for who he is as a player and a leader, but for his defensive tenacity. To be leading the league in defensive field goal percentage outside the three-point line, or outside the paint, is really, really impressive, and hopefully he continues that up. And then I also wanted to talk about, the other night we got to see an all-star starter versus an all-star starter. Cade Cunningham versus Jaylen Brown. And I think the fact that our all-star played somewhat poorly on offense in terms of shooting percentage, of course we talked about all the other ways he impacted the game, and their all-star played well, scored 32 points, and they're the second best team, and that we still won the game speaks volumes about our team right now. It speaks volumes about how hard we play and how the others really step up. And Cade, when he's not feeling it, he's not trying to force his way back into the game or even sometimes just shoot his way out of it. There are times where I'd like him to shoot more, and there are times where I'm like, man, just shoot the ball. And then he makes a great pass and makes the right decision. And time after time, especially over the last 3 games, he's been struggling a little bit. He just continues to make the right plays offensively. And so when you look at a player like that, the whole package considered, yes, are there guys that can score better than Cade? Absolutely. Are there guys that can shoot better? Yes. Are there guys that can attack the rim better and are more flashy? 100%. But what Cade does on both sides and all around, and offensively, assists, defense, rebounding, averaging 5 or 6 rebounds a game, and then making his teammates better, that's a franchise player right there. And that's a guy I believe that will lead a team to a championship, and hopefully even this year. There's still a lot of time to see how this is going to continue to grow. But if the second best team, now we beat them 3 out of 4 times, I think unless we have just an absolute collapse, that game against Boston kind of solidifies that we're going to be the team to come out of the East. You never know what could happen at the trade deadline. You never know who a team could get, and things could change. But as long as we don't go into this big, deep drought, we should be able to maintain that first place lead. And of course, having home court advantage throughout the playoffs would be absolutely amazing. So let's give Cade some love for his defense specifically. I'd love to hear some people comment on what they think about Cade's defense. I think it's a little bit underrated and underappreciated, but the stats don't lie. And then last but not least, I want to give a little Coach T's Keys preview to tonight's game versus New Orleans. I mentioned earlier we're going to get to see Trey Murphy III live in action. I know a lot of you in the comments don't know much about him. To be honest, before this year, I didn't know a ton about him, but I've been following him a lot more because he's been in so many trade talks. And out of all the players that have been suggested to come to Detroit, he's probably my favorite, although I haven't necessarily seen a package yet that makes sense to me if I were the GM. But I do like Trey Murphy III. I think he is a Detroit basketball style player. And so we're going to get to see what he looks like tonight. And so we're going to be on the road in New Orleans, obviously coming in at 31-10, sitting at number 1, and obviously riding a 3-game win streak. And these are the types of games that we cannot take lightly. We got to come out and play Pistons basketball. The Pelicans are struggling, 10-35 this year. But it's the NBA, right? You don't get easy wins. There's no such thing as a free win, and they got some great players. And I'm certain that Trey Murphy, because he's heard his name associated with the Pistons so often, I'm sure he's going to be up for the game. So they're going to give us a fight. So this is a game where we have to show maturity. We have to handle business. We have to play defense, and we cannot play down to the opponent. So we got to respect our opponent. And so let me give you 5 keys that I have to tonight's game, and then tomorrow we can kind of compare these to whether or not the Pistons did them well. But I think number 1, we have to set the tone early. We can't wait too long to get started. We got to jump on them fast, just like we did against Indiana. Get that big lead. I think we went up 24-2 on them, and then that was a hole they couldn't dig themselves out of even if they tried. So no slow starts, no feeling out possessions, no trying things that we don't normally try. Let's just make New Orleans feel like they're playing uphill all night long. Number 2, we got to win the turnover battle. Turnovers, still up and down on that. Cade had 0 the other night against Boston, which was big for us. But the Pelicans are averaging 13.5 turnovers a game. And we've been really active defensively. So not only do we have to control our turnovers, but we have to force a lot of turnovers. They can get a little bit sloppy with the ball. So for us, live ball turnovers turn into easy buckets. And so we got to really force ourselves on defense, make them work, bring the same type of intensity that we saw against Boston. And I think this will be we'll make quick work of it and get a good win on the road. A win in the West on the road is always a good thing. Number 3, we got to dominate the glass. Of course, we've been really strong on the defensive boards with Jalen Duren. Of course, he's strong on the offensive boards as well. But we can't have a lot of one-and-done possessions. We really need to be active on the boards and make sure they are getting one-and-done possessions. Let's not give a struggling team extra life with shot after shot after shot. Sometimes what can happen when you come off a big win, you're feeling good about it, you're feeling confident, you come into a game like this where a team's not playing well, and you just kind of maybe even subconsciously just aren't as up for the game. You're just not as mentally prepared, physically prepared, and you start to take possessions off. And we cannot do that as a team. And I love how JB said in his interview, we focus each day on today. And so we got to do that. We got to make sure that we're taking every possession seriously and get the game done for us. Number 4, we got to protect the 3-point line. New Orleans gives up 14. They shoot 14.8 threes per game, and they give up a lot of threes as well. We can't get in the game of trying to outshoot them in threes. Obviously, as I mentioned earlier, Duncan Robinson's been on a heater, so I'd like to see some good shooting from him. But then when we get open ones, we got to take them, and we got to make sure that we're being selective there. And then number 5, I think we just got to contain Trey Murphy. I think we're all going to get to see what he's like, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he does against the Pistons, to see what his mentality is like. But he's averaging 23.3 points per game over the last 10, and so we can't let him get comfortable with his in-rhythm jumpers that he likes to take. That mid-range is deadly. We got to make him put it on the floor. We got to make him finish over our big guys and make him really work. Let's make it tough for him all night. So, as I said, this is the type of game that good teams have to win, and we can't get lazy. We can't get complacent, but we got to win it convincingly, in my opinion. Those are the types of things that are just absolutely important. We've been holding teams to 101 points per game over the last 10. Of course, over the last 5, we've been holding teams to 94. So our defense has been great. We can't let that up tonight. Those are elite numbers. And then keep it locked in. Stay disciplined. Don't let New Orleans hang around. Don't play around. Someone coined it as they like to play with their food. Don't do that. End the game early and keep that consistent throughout. And then let's handle our business and keep stacking wins, all right? So I expect another win for the Pistons tonight. We've won 7 of our last 8, I believe, or 6 of our last 7, something like that. So let's get a big win tonight. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are about these things we've talked about. Give Cade some love for his defense. Give Duncan some love for how he's been playing. And, let's just give our bench brigade some love as well for the others stepping up when our guy is off, Cade. So that's all I got, guys. Thank you again for watching. If you haven't, subscribe to the channel, do all the things. Please, we appreciate your support. We appreciate you making this your favorite part of the day. Some of you have commented how you start your day every day with Pistons Daily and with Coach T. That means the world to me, and I really, really appreciate those things. Keep the comments coming, and let's go Pistons, baby. So thanks for watching, and as always, Detroit basketball. Let's go, baby.